Hello, everybody, and welcome back. All right, so finally, after years of living here in Japan, I finally made it out to the Nintendo Museum in Kyoto. Finally. And unlike any of those other people that are talking about it online, Nintendo did not fly me out. They did not pay my ticket, and I did not get VIP crazy good access. A lot of the reviews and stuff that came out about this museum back in the day when it came out from like Nintendo Life and like IGN and all those people that, got shown this elaborate treatment and yada, yada, yada. It's like they all gave it glowing reviews. Well, I'm going to give you just the down and dirty on this place and just like, what is the average Joe Smo? Like, what are you paying for? What do you get? What do I think? Let's talk about it. First of all, getting a ticket to this place is a little tough. If you're planning a trip, like I think most of the people that were there were foreigners. Most of the people were there on vacation. If you're coming out for vacation, I really, really, really recommend you make a couple of Nintendo accounts or you have some of your friends also put in because it is based on a lottery system. So you have to sign in on the Nintendo Museum website with your Nintendo account. Once you're signed in and it's verified that you're a real account holder, you then select the day that you want to go and the time that you want to go. I wanted to go on a Monday morning, 10 a.m., as soon as they open, just to kind of get in and get out before the crowds show up. So I had to put in 3 different times. I put in, and I didn't get it. I put in again, I didn't get it. And I finally put it in the 3rd time, and 3rd time was the charm, and I got it. Great. Awesome. The problem is that you can only put in for 1 day and 1 time slot a month. So if you're only coming out here for 2 or 3 weeks and you want to go on a specific day or a specific time, that's going to be kind of tough. You got to be a little bit more flexible. Like if you're coming out here with like 3 or 4 friends, each of you should put in for a different day and a different time and just hopefully someone will get the tickets. Like I said, luckily I got mine and it wasn't that big a deal. However, when you get the email that you've won the lottery, you have exactly 7 days to purchase your tickets. If not, you lose them. So just because you get an email that says, hey, you won the lottery, that doesn't mean you just show up and you pay there on the day. It's no. You've got to buy those tickets immediately. So not a big fan of that system. It's kind of tough. To be honest with you, one of the first times I put in for it, I won a lottery, but I just didn't check my email because I didn't know when the lottery was drawn. And turns out it was drawn on the 1st of every month. So on the 1st of every month, you should get an email that's letting you know, hey, you won or you didn't win. And these lotteries are done about 3 months in advance. So right now, at the time of this recording, it is June the 5th. They are probably doing lotteries for, July, August. They're probably doing lotteries for September. So keep that also in mind. So don't wait too long. If you're coming out here and it's like, oh, I'm going to be there next month, it's already too late. You've already missed it. So that whole lottery system is really, really tough. And to be honest with you, from the way that their ticketing area and all of that stuff is set up, I don't think this system is not going to go away anytime soon. I don't see them having a system where you just walk up and can just buy your tickets and go in. I don't see that ever happening because they really want to control the amount of people that are inside because it's really not that big of a campus. It's a smaller building. Fun fact, and like I said, this is also why I wanted to talk about this. Because it's the 40th anniversary of Mario, they had a bunch of exclusive special things, including they're selling a little red book that has a bunch of information about the Nintendo Museum, like a complete tour book in there. I don't know if they're going to continue that after this, like little 40th anniversary thing, but I thought it was really, really cool. And I did not know that the land that the Nintendo Museum is on was their old, production building. Meaning, back when they did Hanafuda cards or when they just made toys, that campus was a giant warehouse where they actually, built the stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool because I was wondering when we were driving up, for any of you that have been to Nintendo's headquarters in Kyoto, like in past years before this museum thing came out. They're kind of located in a bad neighborhood, not a crime bad neighborhood as we think about it in like America or Western society, but it's like an airport town. Like, you know, when you're driving to the airport and you're passing by all of those kind of like shady businesses and everything's kind of run down. It's like, that's where Nintendo is in Kyoto. It's really weird. Like, you're driving through this stuff and you're like, there's a $1 billion corporation out here somewhere in the middle of all this, like these used car lots and this stuff. It's like, what? Where are we? And yeah, and then sure enough, you turn the corner and it's like, boom, there's this gorgeous, beautiful, brand new building. You're like, wow, this is weird. And the Nintendo Museum is the same way. We took a taxi out there, and it was like, are you sure we're going the right way? Like, this doesn't look right. But it is right. That is the way that it is. But it's because it is in their old building. So they already owned that land. They had that nice big plot of land. I'm sure they've been wondering for years what they're going to do with it. And now they're doing this, which is great. I'm glad they were able to repurpose that. Because, yeah, everything now, unfortunately, is now made in Vietnam. You know, it's not, I don't know, like the Switch 2 parts are not manufactured and stuff in Japan anymore, which I disagree with. I think they should bring all that back. But anyway, that's besides the point. I just think I think Japan's manufacturing out here is second to none. They do such a great job. But anyway, besides that point, the museum itself was interesting. When you walk up, there are guards at the gate, and I saw a couple of other tourists out there that were kind of frustrated because they did not obviously know about the lottery system. So I think they just thought they could just walk up and go, and they couldn't. The guards were all very nice. They're all contractors. They're through one of the guard contracting agencies out here that I'm familiar with. I see them all the time at events. And they spoke English as well as Japanese, obviously. And they were very helpful. When I started walking up and they saw me initially, they were like, hello, do you have your tickets? Or, you know, do you have a reservation? And I was surprised to hear that. So, you know, don't be kind of intimidated by that. They are set up for that. Everybody in line at the ticketing area was bilingual from what I could tell. And what was really nice was we said, yep, we got these QR codes. We generated the QR codes. You can generate those through your email 24 hours before your ticket time. So I got an email the day before when we arrived in Kyoto that was like, hey, your tickets are ready. Go ahead and generate your QR codes. Did that, got some screenshots, showed them that in line. And just for any of you that are bringing kids, anybody, I believe, under the age of 5 does not get a play ticket. So for the adults, when you show up, they give you this little plastic card with either your Mii character on it that you give them, or I selected the Mario 40th Anniversary Edition card because that's limited to this year. But it's got a giant QR code on there. It's got your name on there. It's got your ticket number. It's got the date and time of your entry and all that kind of stuff on it. And what you'll use that for is to scan the games and the activities in the Nintendo Museum, and you only get a certain number of coins, and you can use that at certain areas and yada, 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 yada. The problem is that kids under 5 don't really get that. They have this like physical, like just normal playing cards that they give you, and you just hand those to the people running the games on the first floor. It's kind of a weird program because immediately for any of you that have kids, you know, Nintendo Museum is going to hand you this really fun card, this personalized card with your name on it, and then the kid's not going to get that. They're going to be pissed. And I just was like, why not? Just give that kid a card as well, and instead of giving me like a pack of cards like they did. They gave me like 6 or 7 different cards, and now I'm carrying all this stuff around, and I don't know. It was very strange. I didn't really care for that. I wish that they would have just given them a QR code, like me and like my wife. Like, what are you doing? Like, it would have just been simpler. I don't know why they do that. I'm sure they have some strange child protective laws out here where they're like, well, but they had to take, I don't know. They had to take the kids' information anyway. I don't know. It's all very strange. I don't know why it's different for children than it is for normal people. But anyway, you go in through the ticketing area. They give you your little card key. You've got to go through security. So you go through a metal detector as well as they scan your bags like at the airport. It's like you're going through the airport, honestly. Everything's fine after that. It spits you out into a queue for a photo. They have a couple photo ops in the little pavilion out there, which is very nice. It's super cute. The staff are all very nice. And then you start to enter the museum proper. When you walk in there, there's sort of this weird zigzag queue right there, like going back and forth. And you're next to this giant mural, and it spits you out into this giant black room with an escalator. And you go up the escalator, and then you're on the second floor, and that's where all of the games and stuff are. That's where all of the preservation room is what I called it. That's where they've got all of the GameCube games and all the GameCube accessories and N64 and Super Nintendo and Famicom and NES and Wii U and Switch. All that kind of stuff is all up there. And on the first floor is nothing but games and activities and stuff to do. The reason why I'm kind of going to go into detail as to what is in the museum is because you cannot, for some reason, take any pictures in there. They are so strict on pictures and video. I don't exactly know why. I guess because they want you to physically go there yourself, but it's like, I don't know, for me that's just like free advertising. I don't know. I thought that was a little strange because I wanted to take some photos of me standing next to some rare Nintendo stuff. They do have an art gallery there, so I can understand no photos in the art gallery, but I can't take my photo next to the N64 display or the GameCube display. I don't know, that's a little weird to me. So that's why I'm going to talk to you about what's there so that you can make a decision as to whether or not you want to go. So on the first floor, as I said, I'm going to talk about the games and stuff first, and then I'll go up to the second floor, which is like the museum gallery and all that kind of stuff. On the first floor, there's a ton of games. In the center of the room is this projected screen on the floor, and they give you a smartphone, and you have to match. They're not Hanafuda cards, but they're Japanese playing cards. And so it'll show you a picture on the phone screen, and then you have to find that card on the floor and scan it and just run around scanning, matching up all of the cards. And it's really fun. It was a really great time. And the best part about it was they do private groups, meaning that the people in front of us were a family of 6 or 7. And then it was just me, my wife, and my daughter. And behind us was another family a group of 2 tourists. And I was like, oh, they're just going to put us all together, right? Because whatever. And they didn't. No matter how big or small your group is, only your group gets to participate in that activity at a time, which was fantastic. I loved that because that's the worst thing in the world when you're doing a tour, in the States or something like that. And you're like, oh, let's go sign up for a horseback riding tour. And then you get there, and there's 8 other randos. And you're like, ugh, I'm going to be wandering through the desert with strange weirdo people? Are these people lame? Are they going to ruin this? Blech. But anyway, they don't do that here. So that was fantastic. So that was a pro. A con for me was in the giant controller room. So they have giant versions of various Nintendo controllers. They've got a giant Famicom controller, which is the old Japanese version of the NES controller. They have a giant N64 controller, a giant Wiimote, a giant Wii pad, like a Wii Fit pad. And then did they have a Super Nintendo? I don't think they did. I can't really remember. But anyway, for some reason, you've got to because I was watching people play the N64 controller because that was the main one I wanted. It was a giant, huge controller, and I wanted to beat Bowser by myself on it. And they were like, sorry, it's a 2-player only, meaning that you can't just play the controller by yourself, which was a little disappointing to me. I was like, come on, that's a bummer. But it is nice because they've got it set on a timer. So there's 3 different things that you can do on there from Mario 64. One of them was you can battle Thwomp at the top of the fortress. You could battle Bowser in the first Bowser fight. And then the first one was, I think, just get to the top of Bob-omb Battlefield or something. I don't remember what it was. It was something like that. But I wanted one of the boss battles. And so my wife just kind of stood next to me. She didn't really press anything, so I could kind of do it by myself. And it's on about a 2-minute and 15-minute timer. So that way they can keep the line moving. So it's not like you're just playing forever and ever and ever and ever. That was pretty well set up. And that was one of the rare rooms you could actually take photos in, which was great. But nowhere else, I don't believe, on that floor you could really take photos. They had a bunch of different kind of traditional carnival kind of things, a lot of carnival kind of game kind of feelings. One of them was, of course, and Miyamoto showed this in the Nintendo Museum Direct, where there's like a baseball bat, because they used to make like sporting goods toys and stuff. It's like a batting cage, and if you hit the different props in the background, different animated things will happen, which is really cute and really fun. It is loud, so it scared my daughter, because she was whacking it and having fun, and then she like hit the teapot or whatever, and it went like that, and she just like, wow, what is that? She was not expecting that at all. But it was fun. It was kind of cutesy. I was like, okay, it was kind of fine. So yeah, there's various games on that floor. They're all kind of okay. They're more kind of geared towards kids and stuff like that. And then on the second floor, which is like the museum kind of proper area, that's obviously where they had all of the glass with all of the retro stuff. And I was looking at all the old games and all of the old cards and, you know, all of that kind of stuff from Nintendo's past. My favorite section, though, in the entire building was the art gallery. It's off the area where they have all of the consoles. So, like, kind of back tucked away in the corner is this little room, and it's kind of almost hidden. Because I was asking them, where do I buy that little red book thing? And they're like, oh, it's in the art gallery over there. And I was like, where's the art gallery? What is this? So I could see a lot of people passing it up by accident. Don't. If you're a Nintendo fan, go in there. That is someplace I wish I could have taken photos, because there were concepts from characters and like drawings and spaceships and ideas and stuff like that I was surprised they had on display. One of them was was it Metroid? Yeah, it was from Super Metroid. And they were drawing a sort of a concept for how to beat Crocomire or something like that. They were doing some kind of boss fight thing. And like they were using a controller peripheral that was never made or released. So that was literally a Nintendo controller prototype that I've never seen or heard of. And it was hand drawn. And I was like, ooh, look at that. Like, that's kind of wild. Like, Nintendo usually doesn't show stuff that was a concept or whatever that just, you know, didn't quite make it, right? They only show you the final product. So it was really cool to get a chance to see some of the concepts and ideas for not only characters, but also controllers that Nintendo did not go with. Like, oh, they were thinking about doing this, or oh, they were thinking about doing that. And this is a concept for what, you know, we were thinking about with this. It was really cool to see original hand-drawn artwork from, you know, the 1980s up till now. And they had different sections for every single franchise. So they had like Splatoon, Mario, Wario, Star Fox, Metroid, Yoshi, Fire Emblem, Animal Crossing, Pikmin, Mario Kart. They had a whole bunch of those. Like almost every Nintendo franchise you could want, they had at least some sort of pieces from there. One of my favorite things too is that if you're a big Yoshi's Woolly World fan like myself, they had if you know the cover of Yoshi's Woolly World with the little yarn characters, those actual characters were there in the glass. You could see them next to the box and be like, oh, that's them. That's what they took the photo of for the box art. It was really cool. I was like, oh, that's cool. I like to see that, you know, because someone actually physically made that. That's not just a computer render. Like somebody actually physically made that. They set it all up nice and they took a picture and that's the box art. Such a cool thing to see, to see like in person, especially for a big fan of the games. Then at the end of it was the gift shop. The gift shop is great if you're a huge Nintendo fan, especially for nostalgia. If you're a modern Nintendo fan and you don't care about the older stuff, you're probably not going to like it at all. It is basically a Nintendo museum store as far as they sell merch from every single old generation of Nintendo, handheld and home console. So Famicom, NES, Super Famicom, Super NES, N64, Game Boy, GameCube, GBA, DS, 3DS, Wii, Wii U. Like even the Virtual Console merch is there. Like they got everything, which is great, but they basically only have that stuff and a line of actual official Nintendo museum merch. Besides that, there's really not that much. Like I didn't really see a lot of like modern plush dolls or like stuff from modern games. It was really just a Nintendo throwback store to older stuff. And every single console has basically the exact same line. They have a t-shirt, they have like a stationery set, so like a notebook and a pen. They've got a coffee mug, they've got a pin set, they've got a sticker set, and I believe that's it. So there's really not a lot. The t-shirts are good quality and they're very, very nice, but there's not that much. The big famous thing that everybody always talks about is the giant plush Nintendo controllers. They had the Famicom controller, they had the Super Famicom controller, they had the N64 controller, and then they had the Wiimote. And I was disappointed because I really wanted a GameCube controller plush. Like, I was like, that's the main one I want. And I just kind of figured, well, maybe it's just kind of too boring or whatever. But then, I have a theory here. Going back to that little red book, that Nintendo Museum red book that they have, I bought 2 of those because you can only buy 1 per ticket. So I bought 1 in English and 1 in Japanese. And they said on there, Nintendo, like, plushie controllers, Volume 1. Meaning that I think there's going to be a Volume 2. I hope there's going to be a Volume 2, and I hope that it's going to be GameCube. I'm hoping that they're going to give us a GameCube one. I hope they're going to give us, like, a Wii U gamepad. Oh, man, I would absolutely love that. And then maybe, like, a 3DS or a Game Boy. Like, oh, man. Or a GBA. Dude. Like, I would get a GBA, and I would get the GameCube. Like, that 2000, 2001 era Nintendo, I'm so nostalgic for. I was originally going to get the 64, but it's really not that great. When you see photos of it, it looks really cool, and I know that that's one of the more popular ones, but I ended up going with Super Famicom, the Super Nintendo one, because the form factor is just a little bit nicer. It just is a better natural kind of pillow. I don't know. The N64 just wasn't that great. I ended up passing on it. And they're all the same price, so it doesn't really matter. You know, they're not, one's not more expensive than the other. But I went with it, and the Super Nintendo one, I think it looks great in the spot that I got it. I don't know. It's overall just a better looking thing. So basically, overall, what did I think of the Nintendo Museum as a whole? Overall, if I'm going to be honest with you, it's okay. It's a nice little 2-hour thing. There was some stuff that you could sign up for that we didn't do. Like, they do like a Hanafuda card painting thing where they will give you a Hanafuda set and you can paint your own cards, which is kind of cool. I don't know. I was not that interested in that. When I Googled it online, it said the process for the entire museum is like 2 to 4 hours. I don't know who said that. It's definitely not. There's really not a whole ton of stuff to do there. It's not a whole day or even a half-day activity, in my opinion. And to be fair, I think it's only for superfans. There were a lot of kids there. Like, my daughter was having fun on the first floor, and she enjoyed herself pretty much. But man, that whole second floor, that's just the museum part where it's all the old stuff. That's great for us old people that have, like, hardcore nostalgia. But the kids don't care about it, like, at all. Like, on the first floor, they were engaged, they were having fun, they were getting involved, they were watching, they were interested. The kids, not even just my daughter, but all of the kids on the second floor were just kind of running around crazy. They were just bored. They were like, what is this? I don't care about this. Because they have no connection to those consoles like we do. So it's not really the best place to take a kid. It's really just for the super fans like myself. And I hate to say it, but it is kind of just a one-time thing. Like, I really don't feel the need to want to go back. Like, if a friend of mine or a buddy of mine comes into town and they want to go, I would totally go again with them. But, like, I wouldn't feel the need to, like, take my daughter again. My wife enjoyed it, but she's like, yeah, I could, and I don't know. I don't really need to go again. And it's also a little expensive. Like, it is 4,000 or I think it's 4,400 yen, which is 4,400 yen to get in, which in Japanese money, that's $44. I think it's 2,200 yen per ticket, though. So $22 per person in Japanese money. Obviously, with the adjustment of cost of whatever. It's not that way right now because the yen is so low. But for Japanese people, it's like $22 a ticket. And that's a little expensive. And the kids' discount is not that much. I think for the kids, it's like $14. So it's not really a cheap place to go. And even the merch in there is pretty expensive. So it's an expensive trip. And there's not really, like I said, there is some of those concepts and that artwork of that unreleased stuff that you can kind of see. There's not a ton of it. But I don't know. It's a lot of fun. But if you're flying yourself out to Japan, and I would totally recommend taking the train. Don't take a taxi because there's so many stoplights. It took us forever to get out there. From Kyoto Station, because we stayed at a hotel there, from Kyoto Station to the museum, for us was about 45 minutes of a taxi ride. It was a long ride. We left at 9:30, jumped in the taxi at 9:30. We didn't get there till like 10:15. And you've got to be there at your window. So my window was from 10 a.m. to 10:30. If you show up at 10:35, they don't let you in. So that's another thing also to think about. Their entry is super strict. Like it is not flexible at all. You've got to be there on your time. So when we showed up at 10:15, I was like, we got to move. Like we got to get in there quick so that they don't close the door on us. And it's true because they had a line for 10 a.m. and then right next to it, they had a line for 10:30. So at 10:30, they're going to let that huge line of people in there. So when we walked up and we were like, oh, we're for 10 o'clock. They're like, go, get in there, go. Like, hurry. So yeah, you've got to be on time. So I would recommend taking the JR train. We took that back. We did not take another taxi. And we did it in probably like 25 minutes. So the train going there is the way to go. And there is a station about a block away from the Nintendo Museum. I'm sure if you look it up on Google Maps and you just say, hey, I want to take the train, it'll do it all for you. But that would be the way I would do it. Don't take a taxi. There's way too much traffic. It's way too hectic on the streets and it'll take way too long. And definitely give yourself 45 minutes if you're coming from the station or if you're coming from that downtown central Kyoto location. But overall, I'd recommend it to super fans. If you have a passing interest, it's worth it. I wouldn't kill yourself or be super disappointed if you're not able to go. It's a great experience, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. It's okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's cool if you're a super fan like me. But the other two people that I went with, they were just kind of like, it's fine. It's okay. I do kind of hope that in the future they maybe lower the ticket price a little bit, or I hope that they make some expansions to where they add more exhibits or they add more things because, yeah, it's a little lacking right now. I think it should be a kind of a day experience. I wish that they had maybe not a couple rides or anything like that, but if they had a couple more like classes or like a history tour, like if you could take a tour of it and they could like walk you through the old history of Nintendo, because that was one of the things that was most interesting to me was that it's basically Nintendo Museum of Gaming. Like they have some of the older stuff there on the walls, but if you want to like take a tour of Nintendo was founded in this year and this is what they were doing and then this is like there's none of that, unfortunately, which is part of what I also wanted to learn. I wanted to learn about, well, who started it? When did they start it? Why did they start it? How has it been going this long? I know that it was a family business up until I think Iwata took over in 2006. Talk about some of the people's tenures from back in the day, 75 years ago, who was running it? What were they doing? What challenges did they face? I don't know. Give us more than just Mario, right? Like I'd like more of a history lesson on it and maybe have a little bit of also a history of why is it in Kyoto? Like, why is it stayed in Kyoto? How is it significant to the Kyoto city and the culture here? Like, I don't know, just talk a little bit more about that. Like, I don't know. I wish they would have leaned more into that. Maybe they'll add a pavilion later on and they'll say this is the old place, like for the adults to go check out. But right now they're kind of straddling that fence between kids and adults and I don't know. It's good. It's fine. For me, living in Japan and all the other stuff I've seen out here, there's a ton of better things to do. But if you are a Nintendo super fan, I definitely would stop by. If you've got kids, maybe skip it. You probably have more fun at like USJ or a theme park or someplace else because, I don't know, a lot of the other kids that I saw there were just kind of getting a little bored after a while. I don't want to sound too negative on it. For those of you that have gone and absolutely loved it, great. But for me personally, I give it a solid 8.4. It's an 8.4 experience. It's really fun, pretty great, but it's also lacking some things. It's not a 10 out of 10 must-do experience in Japan. And as you know, in Japan, there's a lot of must-do things out here. So it's unfortunately going to be lower on the list for me, especially if you're in Kyoto, because there's a lot of great stuff to do out there. But anyway, that'll probably about do it for me for today. Have you been to the Nintendo Museum? If you haven't, do you even want to go? If you don't want to go, why are you listening to me talk about this? But anyway, I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you coming by, hanging out with me for a little bit, listening to me ramble about this stuff. And as always, take care of each other out there.